Well, speaking of rock and roll, what's your opinion on this rock and roll phase that's going through the country right now?
Rock and roll has been in for about 5 years. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to last because I don't know. But all I can say is that it's good. The people like it. It's selling. I don't mean mine. I don't mean rock and roll, but
Uh-huh.
it might change. Like years ago when the Charleston was real popular, the vaudeville act, stuff like that. Uh, you could have told those people maybe that it was going to die out and they wouldn't have believed you. But it's dead now. See, and maybe 4 or 5 years from now, rock and roll will be dead.
Greetings. Welcome back to your Blue Dreamer broadcast. I'm your most humble host as always, Dr. I. Coming through with a new Blue Speak. Today I've got on a very special guest, Mr. Vaden Landers, guitarist, vocalist. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Glad to be on.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. I only came across your music most recently, probably within at least the last 2 months. And doing this, what I do, I'm always kind of digging for new music. But there's styles I'm very partial to. There's just even attitude or any, just the things that grasp my attention from the artists that I appreciate. You definitely got style, and I like that a lot. You know what I mean? Like, your music caught me first, and then I actually kind of saw more visuals, like you playing, and just even your album cover, and I was just like, oh shit, this dude's got style. Like, I like that a lot. I respect that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I definitely want to dig into that. But yeah, I mean, I was looking through some country, finding country tracks, and your last album, I'm sorry, the name is missing me. What is it called? The last album?
Lock the Door.
Yeah. And I found a song off there that was country, but then, obviously I've been listening to it, and like Lemon Pie is just, oh my God, I love that song so much. Dude, that song is so dope.
Thank you.
And it's funny because it's something that I was more drawn to more so, and then I kind of created a playlist out of that song, after country playlist. So it's like, I love when shit like that just falls together, and so yeah, much respect to you, dude, and I really like your style a lot. So I just wanted to start with that. So yeah, I want to hear some stories and whatnot. But so how did you get started in music? Like, when did music come up and bite you like a bug, and that's it?
Well, I've been obsessed with music since I was a little kid. Even at my parents' wedding, I imitated Elvis at their
Nice.
and um, but I got my first drum set when I was 13, and then I got a guitar when I was 8, I believe.
Okay.
And then I hated guitar at first. I couldn't stand playing guitar. I thought it was the hardest thing in the world.
Wow.
So I played drums first, and then I started riding freight trains when I was like 19 years old, and then I picked up a banjo and took it with me, and then learned banjo by just sitting around being bored. And then I traded that for a guitar. Then I just fell in love with the guitar and never played anything else after that.
Nice. How long did you play drums for? Just when you were a kid, and that's it? Or, I mean, you still play?
I still play. I mean, I don't have a drum set anymore, but yeah, I mean, every once in a while when I have a kid around, I'll mess around with one. But yeah, I don't own one anymore. I wish I did.
Yeah. Do you think that starting with drums kind of gave you more like proficiency in like rhythm? Because you got a lot of rhythm in your songs, man. You got that bounce, and I like that. So I'm assuming
Thank
that
you.
yeah, starting on drums definitely helps out with that.
It helped me a lot because I wasn't like technically. I was very technically challenged for a long time playing like leads and stuff on guitar. So I
For
just learned
sure.
how to hammer on a guitar and then never drag anything. And then I learned Travis picking, and then so I could be a whole band to myself because I was really broken starting for for a long time, and
Yeah.
couldn't afford a band, so I had to be a band of my own.
Yeah. 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 That's cool. Like hybrid picking and whatnot, like the kind of
Hmm.
okay. Yeah. 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 It definitely gives it a fuller definitely and in the bounce, it bounces and there's just notes everywhere. So I could
Right,
see how that's
exactly.
more fulfilling, as far as sonically to the audience.
Especially now that I can actually do it well.
Yeah.
I didn't used to be able to do it that well. I mean, it takes a long time to build up that strength in your arm and hand to like be able to really do it like for hours.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, like, just one thing I was thinking earlier today. I'm just kind of oblivious to. I call everything like a style, or I'm not too big into genre and things like that. And but music, I gravitate towards music that I feel and that I resonate with. No matter whatever it is, no matter the style, no
Right.
matter what. And that's what I like to focus on and talk about. But so if I've heard of different picking styles, like I said, the hybrid picking style, and I play guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was 14, but
Nice.
I'm not a I'm not the greatest guitarist. I'm not a shredder. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm a rhythm
Me neither.
player. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm a rhythm player big time, and that's what I pay attention to, and that's what I like. But I mean,
That's
there's
the essence of music anyway. Timing. If there's nothing, music is nothing without being on time.
yeah, exactly. Rhythm is everything, and timing is everything, and that's what it's all about, and just growing older and being the age I am now, been playing for about 30 years, and it's like I'm still learning, but I've also had to learn to accept like who I am through all of it, and be like, well, this is just what you do, and that's it. Don't worry about anything
Yeah.
else. That's what you do, and that's what you do. So it's interesting
My
when
biggest thing with music, I think, when people just don't compare yourself to other people too much, because it's easy to do that.
exactly, and then you kind of get lost in thinking too much about it, and instead of just doing it,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a crucial part, I think, to any artist that really wants to be original, I would say,
Yeah.
whatever that means, because we're all taking something from someone else, no matter what, no
Absolutely.
no one's the original originator of whatever,
Nope. Not even the originators.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, so I was speaking on style and whatnot. Where did your style come from? Where did your
Um, I think mostly it came. So when I started riding freight trains, I started getting into like Piedmont blues and ragtime music.
yeah,
A lot of people I was around, New Orleans, stuff like that, jug band music,
yeah,
uh, jazz, all the stuff that I never heard when I was a kid. Like I heard country, rockabilly,
right,
and that was pretty much. And then like, you know, rock and roll. And my parents listened to a bunch of, but that's all I really heard. I didn't really hear jazz or blues, anything like that. So I got into that stuff, and then I got deeply into like hobo, western, cowboy stuff, and bebop, and all Hawaiian music.
yeah,
And then I started collecting acetate records, the '78
yeah,
records,
yeah,
and I learned more about music than I think I've ever learned. And then, trying to listen to what these guys are doing with one person, trying to imitate a bass player and a sock rhythm guitar and a
yeah,
lead at the same time, and making songs that aren't in that format fit that way is a lot of work.
yeah,
But it seems to come out of me pretty naturally, I guess, because that's just how I hear everything. I don't. That's I hear everything as it could be just solidified if you really pay attention to it hard enough.
Yeah.
But stylistically, I really gravitated more towards just stuff that just had like a lot of soul in it. You know, like 50s R&B and country music. You know, be it happy, sad, whatever. It has a good jumping, swinging beat. I'd probably like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I like the swing. Yeah.
did you ever take lessons or anything, or have you ever thought about that at all, and just to learn something that maybe you feel like you could learn or you would be interested in learning?
There was one guy that I never took lessons, but I was like mentored
Yeah.
by this street musician. His name, everybody called him Stalebread Scotty,
Okay.
and he man, you were talking about a dude that had some swag, style. You know, like
Yeah.
he was on the show Treme actually, and what was like his big breakthrough, I guess, whatever. But he was in a jug band, and he came to Asheville, North Carolina when I lived there, and I was just getting into the picking blues stuff, and
Okay.
then like I was trying to learn it. I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" Because I, looked up to his band or whatever. And I played this, and he was like, "Man, he goes, that ain't nothing. That whatever." He goes like, "Let me show you how to do it." So I hung out with this guy and drank beer on his porch for a year, and that propelled me into learning or how to listen to what I needed to listen to figure it out.
Right. Right. That's cool. That's interesting, man. Like I said, like I was just touching on, like as far as style and whatnot, like I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. And when someone catches my attention for whatever reason, whatever portion, whatever, the way the song moves, or the way a person, even just listening, I can hear different, like, okay, this guy plays guitar like this and in this style and whatever. But I'm not like, there's people that really pay attention to music, and they know all the producers, they know what producers on the album, who's engineering, who's mixing, blah blah blah. Like, they know a lot of details, and I'm not that kind of detail oriented. I'm kind of just more so whatever's on the top, whatever layers like are there presented, and that's what I am influenced by. And so and this is just me having random thoughts. It's like talking to you. It's like you could be from another planet or something, and I'm just like, I mean, like in a way, just and but we play guitar, we sing, we
Yeah,
vocalize, we know rhythm, we know bounce, we know, and so that's the common denominator. That's the common ground for even a reason I would even approach anyone else and be like, "Hey, you like music? Yeah, me too. Let's talk about it."
yeah.
And that was
That
just another random thought I had earlier, and was just kind of like, "Well, shit, I want to ask. I want to see what he said."
and I think that's a really important, especially if you listen to most. I only listen to traditional music. I don't listen to modern music at all,
Yeah.
and because I feel like every time you listen to a song, you're actually learning something. Like
Right.
you're learning something to how to like you're almost like
You're pulling
back because
something
that
out of
music
it.
was the male.
Yeah.
Music use was male, back in those days. It wasn't just a song. It was a way to get your a point, to send out everything you wanted anyone to hear, But also learning, like you end up by proxy learning like different sessions, or like they had like session bands and stuff like that. Mostly, especially on country 40s and 50s country stuff.
Right.
There would be like certain sessions or record labels that had these set bands. They had this set sound, and then they would just bring singers in and try them out, and it went well, or whatever didn't. But I mean, the records that did go well, they ended up being like pretty low on a totem pole for being popular records, but they were some of the best country music ever made.
Right. 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 Yeah. That just makes me think of Elvis, or like, where do you record Sun Records? I just was thinking of
Hmm.
the movie, like Walk the Line, but the band was already there. Same with Motown. They had the Motown bands, and
Yeah,
obviously, whoever was making records wanted the music to sound top notch, and so
yeah,
it makes sense to have solid players. Um, But you know, what do you think the difference is in? So you say you don't listen to a lot of modern music. How modern do you get?
Well, there's some country acts that are out that are doing a lot more like traditional stuff that I'll listen to every once in a while, but I don't put it on like I like as most. I guess the most modern I would ever listen to that I listen to
Yeah.
is probably like early '60s.
Okay. And
Yeah,
I even made a note here, like, and kind of along those lines is, do you feel like, are you like an old soul, like, and you're just kind of, it's, you have that same spark that you had in another life, and now you're just kind of, like, is it like paying an homage to past artists that influence you, or is this just who you are? Like, does that make any sense?
yeah, yeah. I look at it like a way of also yeah paying homage and also like look at it as a way to bring to light because I do like I like when I write a song like if I take like a some deep cut record, like I'll take like a flexion or like a line that this person says or a
Yeah.
melody or whatever,
Yeah.
and rewrite a whole song about it because that song wasn't popular, but maybe I can make it
Right.
popular, or then you can shed light on how many people did that thing
Right.
and how popular it was at one point, and also a way to cover people's songs that people don't know, and they were like, "Oh, who did that?" And you're like, "Oh, that was so and so," and they're
Yeah.
like, "Who the hell is that?"
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, he played right before Elvis on the Shreveport Opera or the Louisiana Hayride,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever."
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I think that's what everybody does is you find a piece of yourself in somebody else's music. And that's how I draw, whatever I draw. And if it's the way my wrist moves on my right
Yeah,
arm, or whatever. And even then I don't even get that right. I'm just kind of, then I'll see the person play. I was like, oh, they don't play it like that at all. I was like, well, shit, at least it's cool and it works for me. So,
yeah, yeah. Sometimes I think I learn a song and I think I'll be like, "Oh, I learned that note for note," and then
Yeah.
I'll go back and look at it. I'm like, "Oh,
Not at
no,
all. Not even close.
no."
Yeah, so I mean that's where music is pretty much undefinable in my
Yeah,
mind, in my perspective. And that's why
your soul speaks out what it wants to. Yeah,
right, and that's why
yeah,
I don't like genre or this or that. And especially
yeah,
finding all the stuff that I'm finding now, I'm very much interested in finding new artists that play older styles, or there's a lot of kind of revival things going on, I would say, in music. I mean, it's never left, but even in the
it's
way,
come back in full force now. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah, and that's cool to hear you say that, somebody who's out there doing the thing, you know um and I'm a witness to it because I'm just catching things that it's music that I've heard somewhere at some point, and but when I find good music, it doesn't matter. I just like, oh, I like that, and then I want to find more things that kind of sound similar or just have the same
Right.
flavor, same attitude, and there's a lot. I mean, music is limitless, honestly, and that's where I love technology because it helps me kind of compile these playlists
Yeah.
in a way, that I would have had to like had record label like listings of all the new artists and blah blah blah, and actually go to the store and dig, and it's just
Oh yeah.
and that's why I admire people that actually know the details as far as, oh, this is who's on this record, blah blah blah, and I'm like, damn, okay, that's, to me that shit's like calculus. I'm like, I don't get it, but this sounds good. I like that song, and I want that song too.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you get obsessed with the way that people like. Could you get obsessed with a sound? Like I get obsessed with a sound, like a tone or
sure,
whatever, and then I find all the people who play like that, but in their
right,
own way.
exactly,
Like I'm really into now. I've been into it for a while, but now that I've been able to like play it a little bit, like it's like country bebop, country jazz,
okay,
like people like George Barnes and Roy Lanham and Jimmy Bryant, Jimmy Rivers, all stuff like that. Like just they didn't sing, they just played like real slick bebop jazz over like old time fiddle tunes or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like to me it's like man that's like it's the best sound, it's the best tone, the best way to approach something that's so simple
Yeah.
and make it sound that's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think an attitude has a lot to do with it as well. You know, it's attitude is the
Yeah.
approach, and you're willing to like be a reflection of those things that you heard and be like, you know what, I'm down, I'm not scared, like I'll go do it. And then
Yeah.
then you got to kind of be like, okay, what's gonna happen, who cares? Like who even wants to hear
Yeah. Yeah.
this? You know?
A lot of mistakes that'll happen.
For sure. Exactly. Crazy. So guitar wise, who really influenced you on your guitar when you really got into it and you were just like, who's the first one? Or was it, I'm sure it was probably a lot. You probably heard a lot of different artists, but like there's got to be, I mean, I would assume that there's probably like one that really was just like, because I know I have one, you know, I have a couple, but like
It's
those.
gonna sound even really weird, but Jimmy Rogers, honestly, that the way it wasn't that he was a great guitar player by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a good guitar player, but I mean, just in the simple things that he would do, in the way like the tone of his guitar, the way he played a guitar was like like the way it's set up his music. It would just the sound of it is like you
Yeah.
know exactly who that is as soon as you hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Bo Carter was my first like oh my god like I want and Blind Blake and Bo Carter were my first two like where I was like how in the fuck does someone do that
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah. Yeah. I find that so interesting, because I almost feel like 9 times out of 10, if you ask them, they'll be like, "How do you do that?" I'll be like, "I don't know. I just fucking play. I just,
yeah
I
I
just
mean
give me a guitar and I'll show you." You know,
yeah
it's not mentally like you don't prepare for that. You just do it. You know.
yeah exactly
Yeah, and I feel the same way. Especially, you know, the way I play is just I can hear all the styles that influence me in whatever way, all the artists that I love that, you know, I was like, okay, I want to do it this way, but it's like it's like a snowball. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're like, where did it start? I think it used to be that
Mhm.
big or something, but now it's just all of this, and you almost can't define the layers, you know, and be like, well, it's, you know, what was the first guitar you got?
oh my god first guitar I ever got was those Walmart first act guitars
Okay,
like
nice.
it was like a Stratocaster look-alike guitar, but I
Yeah.
mean that thing was a piece of. They called it a Starcaster.
Yeah. It was like
Yeah,
plywood and
yeah, like
yeah,
$60 guitar.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. What was the first like good guitar that you got? Like the one you were just like, oh yeah, that's my baby.
honestly, that was pretty recently. I've played crappy guitars my whole life up until probably 5 years ago, and I married my wife, and her dad is a guitar collector and
Nice.
owned all these really nice instruments. And he gave me the first nice guitar. He gave me this one. Um, It was a 1945 Epiphone
Oh hell yeah,
Blackstone, but
nice,
beautiful
nice.
guitar. You know, original. Everything's original.
Yeah,
It's but the best guitar I've ever owned. And now he's since then given me uh, four.
awesome, nice.
So,
Yeah, I've seen you
but I
playing.
primarily play a Telly
Yeah, Telly. I was just gonna say that I've seen you playing Telecaster. Um,
and a Gretsch. I play a Gretsch and the Telly. It's about all I play out because I'm not going to take a $7,000 arch top to every show with
yeah,
some
hell no.
drunk asshole step on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. That's so cool, man. Epiphone. That's funny because I started playing Epiphones, but you know I bought mine in the '90s, like some Les Paul. Uh,
They're just as good as Gibsons. I don't know why that people
the,
shit on them so bad. They're amazing.
yeah, I mean the price tag will always turn people into snobs and whatnot, but yeah, no, I loved my Epiphones. You know, they did the job, and I used to beat the shit out of them, and but I always
Mhm.
changed components in them. You know, like the pickups and you know the
Oh yeah,
pots and just kind of suit my tone, whatever I was going for, but. They sounded great. I never had it. I didn't have to go buy a $2,000, Gibson or to feel good about myself. Recently, I did. I bought two Jazz Masters, and just
Oh man, I
just
love Jazz
just
Masters.
to have a Jazz Master. And the first one I got was my blue one, and I love that guitar so much. And I ordered it from Japan, and it was just kind of like I'm just gonna treat myself, to an actual.
What series is the Jazz Master you got?
I don't know. I would have to look it up. What do you mean by series? Like,
Is it like a newer one or an older one?
it's a newer one. I bought it in 2019. No, 20. I think I bought it in 2023. Like two. No, I've had it for probably like 3 or 4 years, and it was a year old. So I think it's a 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause they have like the Performer series, the Artist series, the
Oh yeah. No, I don't know offhand. That I know it's Japanese. It's Japanese made. I just don't know.
okay.
Here, I can show it.
I love Jazz Masters. They're like one of my favorite solid body guitars.
Yeah, there's that one.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
It's blue, and then it's got the matching blue headstock, and
Oh
it's
yeah, it's like
it's
old
it's
Cadillac.
it's roasted maple neck, and the neck is like almost that C like baseball bat neck. So it's just huge. I love huge necks.
Me too.
Yeah.
It makes finger. I'm a finger picker, so it makes. I like wrap my. I use my thumb as the bass note. I don't play bar chords
Yeah, fretting the top
unless I'm.
string. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, you do that like Travis picking stuff. It's like you just all you're doing is don't. So you're
Right.
just you know clamping so you can like move your hand in like
Yeah.
a spider formation all the way down the
Yeah.
neck.
You got big hands or no? My hands are small, but I
Not really,
love.
you know.
Yeah, me neither. And I love huge. I love just because I like to work for my sound. You know what I mean? So it's like I like a big neck, so I have to really grip, and then like
Oh yeah.
I hit
I mean,
hard.
I
I play
played
hard.
baseball
Me,
most of my childhood,
yeah, me too.
so
Nice.
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I was a shortstop.
I used to play
Uh,
third and first.
Mm.
The corners,
I
the
come
hot
from a big
corners.
sports family.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, even it was cool to buy a new guitar and actually like treat myself, and I was so grateful that when I got it, I was just like, oh my God. And literally, I think of it as the best guitar I've ever played in my life. Like, it really
Oh
is.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, I own it. And then I bought another one, it's another Japanese custom, but it's all blacked out, like with red trim, and it's got same black
Oh nice.
matching headstock. And I call it the Batmobile. It looks like the original Batmobile from Batman, the Batman series.
Oh yeah.
And it's just different. And I was like, oh fuck, that's so crazy how two guitars, practically similar, practically
Hmm.
exactly the same, or just totally different instruments,
Oh yeah.
you
I
know.
feel like all solid body guitars are like that. Like you can play one Telecaster and it's like a light year difference from another one.
Yeah,
This is the only Telecaster I've ever played. The one that I have
yeah,
that I can't put down. Like I can't stop
right.
playing it. It's like I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's that too. I get that too. Like when you find one where you're just like, oh shit, this is one. This is one. This is a good one, like
Yeah, yeah.
there's that satisfaction to that as well. And I mean, like I'm a gear head in a way,
Hmm.
Like I said with music and stuff, I don't know all the details, but I know a lot about I know a little bit about a lot of things. So I know
Right.
gear, I know amps, I know guitars, and I can keep up in conversations um about that kind of stuff. But like when it gets into details, I'm like, whatever, okay. I mean, to me, it
I
seems like
just
important
got
details.
in to the electric guitar world. I mean, like
Yeah,
just in the past 3 years. I mean, I only played acoustic for so long because I bust on the street, so
yeah,
like you couldn't really play electric, and it's taken some unpractice, some unlearning bad habits when playing electric guitar because I played so hard,
yeah,
like
yeah.
picking because I had to outdo cars and loud crowds
Right,
and whatever. It's whatever. So
right,
yeah,
right. street noise. That's crazy.
It's a pain in the ass.
I bet. What kind of amp do you usually use?
I've got a twin reverb tone master right now,
Oh,
and I've
okay.
got a Champ 100 that's just like my little beater amp.
Yeah, little practice jamming amp.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
That's the twin is my favorite. That's is the new one though.
Oh yeah. When you record, or you know, um, how many times have you been in a studio situation?
This I'm actually working on a new record right now. I have been this 6 times.
Okay.
6 times, yeah.
And I'm just curious because of your style. Is it a traditional way of recording? Is there still a lot of digital, methods that are implemented, or is it pretty much just traditional like
The
style?
first two records that I did were completely analog, and just exactly the way that they did it back in the day is how I did those two. And then
Okay.
the Nashville record was analog through a digital interface, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it sounded like an old record, even though it was, yeah,
Right.
whatever. It's a little doctored, yeah,
For sure. No, and that's exactly what I was curious about. Exactly.
yeah.
I would like to know, you know, because when I do hear the recordings, I'm like, shit, it sounds like a tin can, and it's like awesome, like
Yeah, yeah,
in the best way, and
totally.
it's completely intentional, and I really like that a lot. I think that's so
Hmm.
cool to keep the aesthetic in a way, it's and yet it's totally modern in a way, as
Hmm.
far as when it was written and who wrote it. I find that so fascinating. Um, so that's cool. What about your songwriting process? How do you go about? How does that happen? What is?
I always write the words first, and sometimes I just write like in on a piece of paper or like in my phone, whatever. If it's something just pops in my head, I just write it down,
Yeah,
even if it's 3 words or whatever it is, and then I'll go back and finish it. Sometimes it happens like right there; it's in 5 seconds, and then I'll just pick up a guitar and then just start singing it, find the key,
yeah,
and then the melody. I sing the melody already, so then I learn the melody,
yeah,
and then make a scratch track of it once I don't, fuck it up 400,000 times,
yeah,
and I send it to the band and be like, just learn the song,
yeah. And what do you?
and then they're like, huh?
I was gonna ask, what are you recording on when you're demoing? Like, what do you?
I just use my computer. It's like a,
Okay,
I mean, this computer's from like the Stone Age.
okay,
So I mean, like I've had this computer. This is a funny story, but I was friends with this nurse that was he was a guy nurse, and he was like, hey man, you need a computer, and I was like, yeah,
yeah,
sure.
sure,
And
yeah,
he stole a computer from a hospital and gave it to me.
nice,
I was like,
cool.
thanks. They're gonna get like the FBI to kick my door down at any time soon.
Yeah,
He was like, hey,
it's like
whatever.
just scratch off the serial number and you'll be fine.
Right,
Don't
but
tell
then
don't tell anybody.
but then yeah, I've had it for so long. I mean, if they came after me now, that'd be hilarious. More funny than I thought. But I just use like this like Audacity, and then just
Okay,
I have like a plug-in like condenser mic,
yeah,
and I like do the rhythm track and the vocal track and the same thing, and then I'll play over it, and then I play like drums on like with brushes and a cardboard box,
yeah, nice.
and then
Oh yeah,
then I just send it like, here, and then I left your space in there. Like, you play on this part, you play on this part, and then that's it.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's in the ears. It's in the ears of the beholder. When it comes to writing stuff, because I'll record stuff on my phone,
Hmm.
and I've recorded like whole songs all the way through on my phone and compare them to other shit I've done, on a nicer computer and plugins and all that, and I'm like, damn, this shit actually almost sounds better than that. It's so crazy to trying to.
iPhones sound great.
Yeah, iPhones really do actually sound great. The mics on them are awesome. You know, before I bought one years ago, I saw some dude on YouTube do like a shootout between an SM7B and a iPhone mic, and I was like, you barely can't even tell the difference. It's so crazy.
No, it's insane. I think my favorite thing about writing songs really is like bending formats a lot. Like I like I'll take like say I like say there's just like a song I hear like a deep like I'll be like I like that chord pattern,
Yeah,
but then that melody it's like I'll add like a bar more of like you know where he's playing over a four chord. I'll add like an extra bar of the one chord there, cut the four short or whatever,
yeah,
and do like and then if the solo section is like pretty lackluster or whatever, then I'll you know, like, oh, that would be a good part. The fiddle would be there. You know, I love arranging stuff.
for
I really
sure.
like to arrange music,
Yeah,
and like to make it convey the message is like, I don't want to take away any like style from anything. I want everything to be like straight, like driving through. You know,
right.
like where you don't have to have you can't take a breath from it. You have to like listen to it, and then you can like, you know, like keep it pounded on somebody. You know.
Right. Yeah, kind of just get the message across, and you know, without stopping, without giving up like the motivation of the song. You know, it's like it's gonna make you feel this way, and that's the way it's got to run the whole. You know, because and literally, I'm telling you, like with Lemon Pie, I hear it, and I'm just like, fuck, it's such a cool song. You know, like
Oh, thank you.
nah, I
I
love
wrote
it.
that song in 25 seconds.
Yeah, and
But it's like,
it kind of sounds like it, but it's
yeah.
like it's such a cool song, you know, and that's it, you know, and a lot of your songs and even the songs that I found kind of going around Lemon Pie and trying to compile that playlist of, you know, more rock and roll, you know, country rock and roll, whatever. See, and then you know when I try and think too much about some of that shit, I'm like, am I saying the wrong words? Like, is it country? Is it rockabilly? Or you know, it's. But I don't look
It's
up.
all the same, really.
Right, exactly, and that's kind of you know that's my conclusion is it's all the same shit, you know, and I just love the
See, that to
bounce and I
me,
love the
that's like
feel.
there's like hardcore country music, and then there's like when I think of hardcore country music, I think of like Ernest Tubb and Hawkshaw Hawkins and you know all that kind of Hank Williams, the stuff that never ventured out of that realm at all. Like it stayed just like that the whole time. George Jones, whatever. Um, but like hillbilly music
Yeah,
and like is blues, jazz, bebop, old time music. I mean, everything and country,
yeah,
all like just meshed, and every song was just like a free for all. Like, okay, do you want this one to do this or that?
yeah,
And like that's essentially how I think of that whole genre.
yeah,
As you can tell, where there's a definite like those guys were like the hardcore country guys were like, oh, I ain't playing that hip shaking junk. You know, like that boy looks like a fool on stage shaking
yeah,
around like you know, like he's got ants in his pants, you
yeah, yeah.
know.
And it's funny because you know, I've heard country music all my life in a way, just because I remember, you know, I grew up with doo-wop and Motown, and that's a lot of what my parents were listening to. And then I've got an older brother and a sister, and they would listen to a lot of like 80s Prince and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so I was influenced by all of it. But my dad always had like some, you know, he loved Willie Nelson. And, you know, I think I remember there was an album with Waylon Jennings on it. And so I heard country, but I didn't, you know, I would hear it and be like, ugh, what is that? This is Jesus, like cheer up, bro. Like what's going on? And
Yeah,
now, oh, I am obsessed, you know, probably within the last like 5 or 6 years. And like I
yeah.
said, there's a lot of revival kind of shit going on, I think, from what I'm witnessing. And I'm just finding so many new artists just doing really cool ass shit, you know, you included. And I'm just like, wow, this is so cool that I found it myself in a way, you know, I was influenced in a way, but at the same time, I just appreciate good songwriting. I appreciate delivery. I appreciate style, and that's and I try and show people. They're like, "Ah, you like that?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, dude, that's some badass shit. What are you talking about? Like bluegrass and just, I can't stand radio country. That's the country I can't stand. But other than that,
Not country at all.
yeah, exactly. I'm just like, what? No, okay, well, that's not country, but that's fine.
That's where I draw the line.
Even for me, and who am I? But I love it, and I'm like a rock and roll, kind of metal type guy, and I love heavy. I just love heavy music, period. And,
Right.
and I'll hear some bluegrass shit, and I'm like, that shit's heavy, bro. Fuck, what I mean? Like, I love it. I love it. It stirs
There's no
emotion.
difference between punk and bluegrass. Like
Exactly.
real bluegrass, there's
Yeah.
no dip. That is the most punk rock.
Yeah.
Back then, that was. I mean, like imagine being like in the '50s and seeing like people like Johnny Burnett and like Charlie Feathers like on stage. Like that was like as punk as it gets.
Yeah.
So I still think it's still the most punk thing that's ever existed. Is
Yeah.
that '50s rockabilly rebellion? 'Cause that's what the cool kids are doing. It's like in like the 1900s it was jazz.
Right.
In the 1800s it was ragtime.
Exactly.
But
Yeah. It all comes back around too, and it's so funny because I just found this band recently. They're called the Vandaliers.
yeah,
And you heard of them?
yeah,
I had never heard of them, and I heard them. I was like, fuck, this is like bluegrass Blink 182. It's so weird. Like I just never. I was like,
yeah.
that's such a cool, just hybrid style. It's like
All lines are blurred these days.
exactly, and I love it. That's why I don't like to say genre or whatever because
Yeah,
it's a free for all. And people
Mhm.
are into it. I
Oh
honestly
yeah,
believe anybody can find their own little nook in somewhere, and somebody's gonna just jump on it and be like, this is awesome. This is great. You guys, you're doing good shit, and
right.
it's everywhere, and that's why I can't stop finding new music, and I don't think it's ever gonna subside. It's never gonna be like, oh shit, I'm trying to find this, because at some point, like when I'm trying to put out a playlist or something, I'm like, damn, I need another song, and then I find another like 10 songs, and then I find this artist doing like two different, completely different genres. And I'm like, oh shit, now I
Yeah.
can get into some other shit, like the rabbit holes are just everywhere.
Oh yeah. Music is a landmine. I mean, you step on one just to get blown up, just to step on another one. I mean, it's just that. That's what happened to me. Like with, I mean, I was always into like country music, and I mean, like I have, I mean, I have like 2,500 78s. It's all primarily
Damn,
country
that's
music in
crazy.
the 40s and 50s, and
Nice.
then that's not even included the LPs and 45s that I have.
Yeah,
Um, like when I stepped on that landmine, I didn't get out of that for a long time, and then
that's
all of a
crazy.
sudden, and then someone gave me, which I knew Benny Goodman, but he gave me Charlie Christian Benny Goodman LP. I put that on and I listened to it every day for a year. I'm not even kidding you. That
Nice.
is the best, one of the best records I've ever heard in my life. Just pure. I don't know. Just it's like pure. Just it's unbelievably good. I mean, there's no way to put it anywhere near. Or Bob Wills is the same way.
Yeah,
When I first heard Bob Wills, I got this box set, Papa's Jumpin', which is all the MGM years of him, and mostly Tommy Duncan singing, which he's one of my favorite singers. And
yeah,
I I I will take one off, and the needle hits off, and then I'll just press start again, and like it's just it was unbelievable how good those guys were. I
yeah,
mean, like and what they were doing at that time and how innovative it was.
yeah. Is your acetate collection because it's shit that you can't find that's digital, or is it a nostalgic,
You
like
can't find a lot of it.
you're a
Yeah,
collector, like a for real collector? A little bit of both.
I don't sell music. I don't collect to sell records
Right.
because it's. I mean, I just
I
kind
mean,
of
I know
find
those
that weird.
78s are hard to find, that's for sure, especially
They're
because
not
they're,
worth anything.
nah, no, but they're, well, they're worth whatever song is on them to whoever's wanting to hear it,
That's it. Now, if you find old blues stuff like pre-war hillbilly and
Yeah,
pre-war blues, because back in the Great Depression and like World War II, whatever
yeah,
or whatever that they were burning race records to start to have fires, like they would
right.
take the black records
The
and burn them
oil,
in the
yeah,
fire.
yeah,
Like so, if you find those, I mean, they're worth I think the most expensive 78 is $25,000,
Crazy.
and it's Tommy Johnson.
Yeah. Wow. That's
But I
crazy.
think there's two in existence,
Yeah.
and they both are, it's crazy.
Nice. Hell yeah. That's cool.
I don't have one, but
Yeah, I don't have one, but I'll take it. If anybody's got
Mhm.
one, I'll take it. Cool, man.
But mostly I collect like county stuff and like stuff you only hear like in certain, like I live in North Carolina for a while. I'm from Tennessee, but
Hmm.
I collected North Carolina string band music for a long time.
Okay.
It's just like strictly rare North Carolina bands, and then
Yeah.
Tennessee country, and then whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
I got really into collecting Japanese records for a little while.
Hell yeah. Japanese.
Japanese 50s country bands.
Really? Shit.
Crazy stuff,
I
man.
would love to hear that shit. Damn, that's
Look
crazy.
up the Wagon Masters, 1950s Japanese
Okay.
like honky tonk. It's just they don't write in their own stuff, but they're a 50s band, and they covered all like big country hits in the 50s, and they
Yeah.
sound like the guy sounds just like Hank Williams, but he's singing in Japanese.
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
Dude, the Japanese that's it. They're always the innovators, man. They're always on top of the curve.
Oh yeah.
They are the curve. It's crazy.
Uh, I mean, what are they? They are. I mean, some of the. I mean, they're like a mecca for all American culture. I mean, like
Yeah.
the best jug bands you ever hear are Japanese.
Yeah.
Like old time band. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like they've taken American culture and just
And
perfected it.
yeah. Yeah. Even the
It's crazy.
lowrider culture and all that, man. It's so crazy. Like
Yeah.
there's people that, from California, like a lot of like Mexican Chicano guys that go over there because they're like, dude, we heard some shit's going down over here. Then you just see it. It's like, wow, that's so crazy, man.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
California is a huge mecca for some of the best country music that ever happened. I mean,
Really?
and then oh yeah, like Western music, and with the Hollywood Cowboys, and then the Bob Wills
Yeah.
was California, and all the stuff like that, and but the home of hillbilly music to me is Cincinnati. It's King Records, and like that's the best it ever had or ever will be, I think. But that's just me,
Crazy.
the '50s. But
That's cool, man. That's crazy. All right, cool. Well, let's get into your music. Well, first of all, I always ask the artists that I interview for influential music. And you gave me some. First song you picked was Elvis Presley, Hound Dog. Pretty standard, just rock and roll tune, man.
right.
Why this song? Why'd you pick this song?
Whenever I was a little kid, and I like my grandpa was an Elvis impersonator,
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
and so he would put this on, uh, and he'd get pretty drunk, and
Yeah.
put Elvis on and
Yeah.
and whatever, and but I didn't know that as a kid, but like now that I'm looking back, I'm like, oh, he's pretty sauced, but yeah,
Yeah.
but what is it? Yeah, he used to put that on, and I would do the dance, like the wiggle leg, and like, and
Yeah.
he'd like pump my hair up, and like
Yeah.
whatever, and like I had a pink guitar that had TCB spray painted on it in
Fuck
gold
yeah.
spray paint,
That's funny.
and like I just bang on that thing and just
Yeah.
like sing the words or whatever, and like I'd put a show on for anyone whoever was around. My grandparents would sit down, I'd play, and I would lip sync Elvis songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is, but that was my first introduction to uh being an entertainer. I guess
Yeah.
it's like learning how to entertain people, and I loved it. I loved making people laugh and
Yeah.
like whatever. So I guess that's it.
Just
Yeah.
taking care of business, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 The
Fuck
motto of life, man.
it. Cool. Let's go. It's Hound Dog.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, you're crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit, and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. Yeah, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. Yeah, you ain't never caught
classic shit, obviously, but straight up rock and roll, I mean,
Oh yeah.
for sure, for sure. What did Elvis teach you about rock and roll besides shaking the hips and
Man, it was to me is like I like that I didn't really know this until I got older, but really more I guess dove into that.
Right.
But just I guess how much of a mending of racial barriers that whole situation was. I mean,
Right.
um, just blurring lines between country and R&B and rock and roll, whatever, and then making it just like let's go, like let's end all this you know stuff, and then
Right.
just let's put it all together. It's all good. Why can't we just enjoy it together? I think that's the most punk rock thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, I don't know. I've never really, I mean, I love Elvis, but, for me, Elvis was, I never got deep into his stuff, and I wasn't, my parents, they liked Elvis because of what was on the radio, like, obviously Hound Dog, and I mean, my favorite Elvis song is literally Blue Christmas. That's my favorite. I
Oh
love
man,
that
yeah.
song. So every year I'm just like, oh, time to play some Elvis. And oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
I just love the way his attitude on that song is such a good
He
feel.
he has the best Christmas music. I mean, ever. I mean,
Yeah.
Gene Autry. If it's not Christmas time and you're not putting Gene Autry or Elvis on, like what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that? Santa Claus is back in town. That
Yeah.
is the hardest Christmas song ever written.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that-
that's what I like. That's what I like to
Yeah.
hear, but I never got deep into Elvis, and I don't know his catalog. It's just whatever played on the oldies station, when I was.
I lost interest in it after high school. I mean, like I came back to it. I'm just like, oh yeah, this is great. But
Yeah.
I don't put it on ever.
Right. Yeah. Next you picked Hank Williams. What was this song? Oh, You're Gonna Change or I'm Gonna Leave. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's check it out. Hank Williams.
You wore out a brand new trunk, packing and unpacking your junk. Your daddy's mad, he's done got peeved. You gonna change or I'm gonna leave. You gonna change your way of living, change the things you do, stop doing all the things that you oughtn't to. Your daddy's mad, he's done got peeved. You gonna change or I'm gonna leave. This ain't right, and that is wrong. You just keep nagging all the day long. It's gotta stop, I don't mean please. Now you gonna change or I'm gonna leave. The way to keep a woman happy and make her do what's right is love her every morning, bawl her out at night. Your daddy's mad, he's done got peeved. How you gonna change or I'm gonna leave?
So why that song?
Man, that was the first time, other than hearing Lovesick Blues, the first Hank Williams song I ever heard was a song called Dear John. But the first time I ever heard that song, I was like, man, that it was like the best way I could describe it is like if someone sewed your heart together with the thickest string in the world and would just like cut it with a pair of scissors. I
Mhm.
mean, like it's like the way he it that to me is his like pure style.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like you can feel everything he's saying.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like that. Right, I was like, oh my god, I want to sing like that.
Yeah.
And
Fuck yeah.
then I started trying my everything I could to like. I thought I just wasn't doing it well at all. And
Yeah.
then a friend of mine asked me to come. They're like, man, I hear you singing in that room all the time. It was way before I did anything, but he was like, you need to come out and sing that song for these people. I bet you they'd like it. I was like, no, they won't. I'd sound like a dying dog.
Yeah.
And then,
They're like, yeah, they're into that shit.
yeah, I sat down and I played it, and this room just erupted, man. I was like,
Fuck yeah.
what happened? They were like, you sound just like Hank Williams. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you listening to?
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, I was like, okay, man. And but that to me is like, I like that about country music the most. Is like you don't have to be a perfect singer at all, but
Yeah.
to be able to just like wrench out some like
Yeah.
just like guttural like feeling, and like to me, it's like it just sounds like. It's like it's like someone peeling the paint off a '50s Cadillac. It's
Yeah.
just what it sounds. I mean, it's just like it just sounds good to me. I love it. I've always loved that real like nasally like
Yeah.
ha thing. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
What vocalist would you say you emulate the most? You know, like,
Um,
because
there's a
I
guy
believe
that
I believe in like mimicry. Like we're, you know, as a singer, I'm a vocalist, and you know, there were certain people that I would imitate early on
yeah.
that I
Hmm.
felt like, oh, this is the closest my voice sounds. These are the guys that I listen to that I can kind of hit their range, you know, even though I
Right.
didn't know what the fuck any of that meant, but I was just kind of like, oh, I kind of sound like this, I can kind of sound like that. But then at some point I started finding my own voice, you know, and wasn't,
Right. Right. Right.
but the, you know, the remnants of me learning the way they still taught me shit in some way, you know, but I just learned to use my own voice. I was like, oh, this is what I sound like, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
I say 100%. Starday George Jones taught me two things in life.
Okay.
You're not a good singer, and I'm gonna teach you how to be a good singer. So like I listened to all those, right? And I mean I learned that stuff like I like at one point. I don't really do that anymore because because yeah, I found my own voice through all of it. But
Yeah.
I tried to imitate Starday George Jones to a perfect T, which he was imitating Hank Williams and Lefty Frizzell. He wasn't singing like George yet,
Yeah.
but when he was doing that, he still sounded like himself, and I was like, see, that's cool. Like, if it wasn't for, it's a hard toss up for me because Columbia era, Fair and Young, and George Jones. If those two, I think that's who I try to sound like every time I write a song.
Yeah.
And then like it ends up sounding nothing like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, that's just me, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's me imitating someone really poorly, and it sounds really good to
Yeah.
somebody.
It sounds good for you. You're like, it
Yeah,
works for me. Fuck it, might as well. Might as well keep doing this, I guess.
that's all I can. I guess those two, Hank, of course, but I got pigeonholed really. I think that I ran into a pretty harsh roadblock when I first started playing
Okay.
out because people were like, "Oh, but you sound way too much like Hank Williams," and I was like, "Well, I don't hear that," and like, and
Yeah.
then people were like, "No, I mean you sound way too much like him." And I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, okay." And then when I did that first record, a broken down record, I had a European magazine, country music people do a write up on it,
Yeah.
and it was a 5-star review, but I
Yeah.
mean they did it like I couldn't tell the difference between Montgomery, Alabama. I think this is the exact quote. Hank Williams and then this guy, like it's
Yeah.
like he's good, but it's like he's got to find himself or something.
Okay.
And then I got pigeonholed, and then I started just venturing out doing different stuff, trying
Yeah,
not to sound like that at
yeah.
all. But it just that's just what comes out. I don't try to sound like that. That's
Did
just what comes out.
did that kind of fuck you up at all, like in any way? Like,
It did at first, yeah. I
okay,
mean,
yeah.
like for a
Just
few
asking.
years, and then people were like, "Oh, like a few people were like, oh, this sounds like Hank, but if like in like a swing, it has like a swing to it. It's
Yeah,
like it's not like Hank was like real stiff and like
yeah,
real what they call grandpa country, which I fucking hate that term.
yeah,
If you,
yeah. Fuck that.
but like, yeah, it's like it's got some edge to it, I
Right,
guess.
right,
So
right. Interesting, crazy. Hey, whatever it takes to fucking find your voice, man. You know what I mean? Like,
wasn't a
I'm
fun
one.
time. I'll say that.
No, I understand. No, I understand. I completely understand that side as well, man. It's just like that could be fucking devastating. You're just like, great. I'm trying to do this shit. Nobody understands what it takes to fucking do this shit, and then you're gonna talk shit. And now I gotta go do
Well, the
something else.
Yeah, I mean
You
the problem with
know?
when you sing like that, like
Yeah,
naturally, when you sing like that naturally,
yeah,
people that's the first thing people think of. They're like, "Oh, it's Hank," because that's all they know how to relate it to. Because
sure, sure.
I mean, unbeknownst to, I mean, most people are just so poorly educated when it
Right,
comes to old country music. It just like
sure.
everybody was trying to imitate somebody in some way. There was very, very few innovators, and all the innovators were innovators, and then the rest just copied those people.
Exactly.
And then there was like some that didn't. I mean, there's it's a weird genre.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems so traditional, whatever that means in a way too. But like everybody's trying to do something different, and now it's like even now. Well, I mean, you're either trying to do something different or you're just want to make money off of shit that's already there. But I guess that's all music in a way, you know.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Next up, you picked Bo Carter, Cigarette Blues. Let's go.
Says I come over here, sweet baby, 'cause I'm all alone. Haven't got nobody just to carry my smoking on. Won't you just draw my cigarette, smoke it there all night long. Just draw my cigarette, baby, until you make my good ashes come. Now I got to go up the country just to get my cigarette boil. The women round this place gonna let my cigarette spoil. Won't you just smoke my cigarette, draw it there all night long. Just draw my cigarette, baby, until you make my good ashes come. I come over here, sweet baby, just to get my ashes whole. Lord, the women at the other place gonna let my ashes fall. Won't you just draw my cigarette, smoke it there all night long. Just draw my cigarette, baby, until you make my good ashes come. Here's one thing I want you to know. Before you leave from home, my cigarette ain't too big, and you know it ain't too long. Won't you just draw my cigarette, smoke it there all night long. Just draw my cigarette, baby, until you make my good ashes come.
I ain't mad at him.
Oh man.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't even want to guess what he's singing about. He's talking about smoking cigarettes.
Exactly. That's a Marlboro song.
Yeah, all the way down to the bass. You take the cigarette all the way down, girl. Why that song, man? Why'd you pick that song?
Oh, I love like that 30s comedy like stuff is like really like is really metaphorically dirty stuff, but like a lot of people think that a lot of that stuff came like in rap music and stuff. It's like, man, no, that they've been talking like that since like I mean that style of comedy is as old as the hills. And then I liked it one because the guitar playing, and then style when the guy just had so much of it.
Yeah.
I heard Bo Carter through Mississippi Sheiks, where they're the Chapman Brothers.
Okay.
And which is one of the best Mississippi string bands ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, who was that playing that guitar like that? And then he had his own break-off career where he did stuff like that. You know, he had another big hit that was a dirty song too called Please Warm My Wiener.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just straight up. You ever see him play? Is there any like actual like?
No.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming he's doing the same thumb thing because it's just bump, 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 bouncing on those low strings.
So there's a difference between the Travis picking stuff and there's a difference between the Piedmont stuff. So it's like where you do like the Travis picking stuff was just like you're playing the fifth, the third, and the fourth string. Just like do 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 do.
Okay.
And then those dudes were like doing like rolling bass notes, like do 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 do. You know, like so they'd bounce between two strings. There was no like it was all syncopated playing mostly.
Right.
So like there's just a hair of difference in it, but it's pretty similar. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's so interesting. The first person I ever saw do that was Jimi Hendrix. And, and I was just like, man, how does he do that? But then you see his fingers. I was like, oh, he's got banana fingers. Like that, he could reach all around like at least one time.
Oh man, yeah.
I was like, that's not fair.
Oh man,
that's not fair. I got these regular ass hands, and this fool's got fucking banana hands, dude. Like what?
Oh yeah. The popsicle fingers, yeah.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, jeez. All right, cool. All right, let's get into your stuff. First song you picked was "Cream to My Coffee." Let's go. We'll talk about it after. Let's play it first.
Said you cream to my coffee, you're my sugar and spice. Said you cream to my coffee, you're everything that's nice. When I come to town and I lay my money down, every gal I know, she knows when I'm in town. You're green to my coffee, you're my sugar and spice. sugar and spice. Said you're cream to my coffee. You're everything that's nice. When I come to town and I lay my money down, every gal I know, well, she knows when I'm in town. You're cream to my coffee. You're my sugar and spice, everything that's sweet, baby. You're my sugar and spice.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, tell me about that song. How did that song come about? You know.
There's a couple funny songs, a couple funny stories with that one. So I was sitting at a bar and I was listening to an old. I'll say it. He's an old comedian. I'm not gonna say what he actually was, but
Okay.
and he had a song called "You're the Cream to My Coffee," and I was like, "Damn, that's a really good title of a song." And then I just picked up a guitar and started just playing whatever that I just played a rag in my head and then just wrote the songs. I wrote the words. I didn't even think it just came right out, and then that's what happened.
Nice.
But and then the day that I recorded that song, I regret it every day. The night before, that, because that's like the most popular song I have. And then the night before that, I got absolutely shithouse drunk, and I was supposed to play, do that song the next day, and then that was the last one, and I lost my finger picks, which. Me, that never happens. Like I have the same finger pick that I've played with for years now. And anyway, so I lost them. So I had to play that song barehanded, and then which obviously you can tell I'm like struggling and
I could hear it a little bit.
And and I hate that big. I guess I don't know, whatever. And then so. Right before that, I just well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this the right way. I just cranked a 24-ounce Natty Light and just picked up a 1930s Maybell Slingerland arch top and just played that thing bare fingered. And that's just what happened. That is one take. I never did it. I'm like, I'm not doing that shit again.
That's crazy.
I want to re-record that song so bad. It's not even funny.
A finger pick just on your thumb?
No, back then I used to use this is all I use now, but it's just just Fred Kelly's slick pick.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then I used to use one metal banjo pick on this finger, but I don't do that anymore. I just built up the callus, and now it sounds like a pick anyway.
Yeah.
But I lost them. I was out in the front yard, just frolicking around, and they just fell out of my pocket.
You don't buy more than two or one? Yeah.
Not at that time. I did.
Okay.
I got a whole Altoids can full of them in my guitar case now because I learned my lesson that day.
For sure. That's cool, man. All right, cool. The next one is Going Hog Wild. Let's go. Let's go Hog Wild.
1, 2, 1, 2. I'm tied up like a fool, stand the runner of your home. We're just as much like others, you can't tell us apart. Well, I've got something that them other dogs ain't got. I'm going hog wild, I love not in your heart. I'm going hog wild for you, darling. I'm like a bucking bronco and a pop that's overborn. I like a popping cup of coffee and learn you when it's hot. I'm going hog wild, I love not in your heart. I'm tired others can tell us apart. Well, I've got something that them other dogs ain't got. I'm going home wild, tired of love knots in your heart. I'm going home wild for you, darling. I'm like the bucking bronco in a pot that's overborn. I like popping cup of coffee and it'll burn you when it's hot. I'm going home wild, tired of love knots in your heart. I'm going home wild, tired of love knots in your heart.
Yeah. Nice. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Tell me about that one. Anything interesting about that? Or?
I wrote that song about my wife actually. That I was standing in the kitchen. I was, like I said, imitating Fair and Young. I was listening to Fair and Young all day, and I don't know, that song just popped in my head, and I just like for some reason I just thought, like like I'm tied up like a pooch to the runner of your heart. I thought that was a good line, so I
Nice.
just like wrote a whole song up essentially just like, like tied down and tied up. Let's go. I don't know. Let's go hog wild, But
Yeah. Nice.
I just it's kind of just a pun, really. And then I was like, she walked in the room, and I was like, "Hey, check this out. Like, see if you like this." And she goes, "Damn, that's good, and should record that." And I was like, "All right."
All right, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I should. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I should. Cool.
That's the new single. That's gonna be I think the title track of the record. There, I think
Oh, okay. This is all new stuff.
that's brand new. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a couple months. Yeah.
Okay.
Cream of My Coffee's off the very first record. That was years ago, but
And what was your album called again with Lemon Pie? I'm sorry, I'm so bad at names.
Lock the Door.
Lock
Yeah.
the Door. How long ago did you record that?
That was in, oh my God. It was right before COVID.
Oh,
and
wow.
We were going to
Okay.
release it.
Oh, okay.
We were going to release it after, like, as soon as COVID happened. And then we're like, oh my God. And then, then COVID happened. I was like,
Yeah.
so I sat on that record
shit.
for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then released it after COVID. And then, it did okay. I mean, I think it would have done better because I had so much hype coming around at that time,
Yeah.
and then COVID just killed everybody's mood.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was rough.
Okay.
That was the most money I've ever spent on a record in my life too.
It's a great record. That's
Yeah.
all that matters. It really is a good fucking record, dude. It's a good album.
Thank you.
So, okay. So, how long have you been sitting on these songs? Like, you're saying these are new. Steak Knife Boogie's new too, right? Because it's in the same-
that's the newest. That's the last single we put out. And that
Okay.
was when that was a couple. Yeah, about half a year ago.
Okay.
But I've had some setbacks, like putting records out, just like trying to figure out, when and how. I just want to do it right because, I've been lied to by a lot of people, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you into like putting out singles or full lengths, like singles leading up to the full length? You know what I mean? Like what? And I'm just curious because I thought these songs were older than Lock the Door. So now I'm kind of like, oh shit, okay.
No, those are newer. So yeah, Lock the Door is what I did right before those two singles.
Okay.
And then yeah, I'm pretty much just gonna release a couple more singles, and then I'm gonna probably put out a full length record at the end of the year.
Okay.
But got to go to the right folks first.
What's the difference in these songs compared to what's on Lock the Door? What did you do different, or are you trying to do anything different? Because that sounded more traditional, than in a way, like like I'm saying, my gauge is Lemon Pie. I love that song, and it's a very different song than whatever the other songs that are on the album. It's like that reminds me of like fucking Big Bopper and shit like the kind of that style. But so now I'm hearing these, so this is all kind of like in the moment. Like what? Okay, so are you trying to like go a little more traditional, and I'm just asking. I'm just being curious.
So I try to like make every record like almost like you never know what the next song is
For
going to be
sure.
like. So it's like
Yeah.
I stick straight for like traditional country shit like that, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden I'll do like a rockabilly song, or just like a straight western swing song, or like whatever. I mean, I try to like do a lot of like try to like fill every
Mix
gap
it up.
of what I like.
Mix it up. Yeah.
Because I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to be like,
No.
oh, he's just a country guy.
No,
Like,
that's cool. No, I fucking love that, dude. That's fucking cool. That's so cool. Cool. Now I know. All right, that's dope. I love that. Respect, dude. All right, cool. Last one, Steak Knife Boogie. Let's go.
Action. 1, 2, 1. I'm straight at steak knife, looking at door down. With my handle in a crooked and my hose ain't never stand. When I smile at my baby, always gives her away. With my handle like a smile, dressed up neat and the fancy free from my tip and on feet. Going down tight, $40 boots. Handle in a crooked, but I'm still foot loose. And I'm straight out there, crooked and silver spoon. With my handle in a crooked and I'm always looking to smooth. When I smile at my baby, it breaks up his lies of truth. With my handle like a smile, it's up neat, the fancy free from my tip to my feet. $1 tie, $40 boots. Had a little crooked, but I'm still foot loose. With my hand like a smile, dressed up neat, the fancy free from my table to my feet. $1 tie, $40 boots. Had a little cookie, but I'm still foot loose.
Oh yeah, nice. And
Thank you.
those aren't the two performances I found were live performances. That's all that's out there right now, right?
Yeah,
All right,
those
cool.
two, yeah.
All right, cool.
There's the single versions of them, the track versions of them, but yeah, they're on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they're the same thing.
Okay, yeah,
Same
the
thing.
two I found were both live, but I mean, it sounds clean
Yeah.
as fuck, so you can't even fucking tell. So, respect to you on that.
That's why I just thought that was like, man, I'll just use those tracks. They sound great. Whatever.
Yeah, super clean, super clean. Cool, man. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, man, a lot. Like I said, you know, I've been trying to find different music out there, and when I come across really cool ass shit that I resonate with, that I'm very much appreciative of, you know, I just reach out and hopefully somebody, you know, takes the bait, and you were one that took the bait, so I appreciate that even more so than, you know.
Man, thank you. I just like to talk to people, so I mean, I just enjoy music. So I mean, if you want to talk about it, I'm always to talk about
Respect.
it.
I love that. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Let people know, you know, where they can find you. You got a website, social media, whatever. What you got coming up?
www.
Yeah.
Oh, it's www.vadenlandersmusic.com, and then Instagram and Facebook, but TikTok, all that stuff. You got to stay on everything these days.
For sure. I mean, you don't have to, but it helps.
When I started seeing people show up all the time, I was like, oh, I guess that does work.
Yeah. No, respect. Cool, brother. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For sure. And much love and respect to anyone out there listening, anyone paying me with your attention. As always, it's your Blue Dreamer broadcast. I'm your host, Dr. I. Much love and respect to anyone listening, anyone paying attention. Stay tuned, stay connected. And then until next time, peace.